Since the beginning of time, people have been haunted by the same questions. Why are we here? What happens when we die? And is there a higher power looking over us? For centuries, civilizations have built temples, waged war, and sacrificed everything in the search of divine truth. From the sacred rituals of the ancients to the doctrines that still guide billions today. Religion has shaped the course of history, sometimes as a force of peace, and sometimes as the exact opposite. This is the Religion Iceberg Explained. Now, today we're going over virtually every religion that I could find any type of information on. If you don't know how an iceberg works, basically the most known stuff is towards the top of the iceberg, and then the more niche, like weird kind of random stuff that you've probably never heard of is more towards the bottom. Starting off in the sky, first up is atheism. Atheism in the broadest sense is an absence of belief in the existence of gods. Less broadly, atheism is a rejection of the belief that any gods actually exist, and in an even narrower sense, atheism is specifically the position that there are no gods. So basically somebody that just doesn't believe in anything, doesn't believe in higher power, doesn't believe in any spirituality type of thing. That is what an atheist is. Plain and simple. Christianity. Christianity is an Abrahamic religion believing that Jesus was raised from the dead and is the Son of God, whose coming as the Messiah or Christ was prophesied in the Hebrew Bible, which is known as the Old Testament in Christianity and is also chronicled in the New Testament as well. It's the world's largest religion and the most widespread religion, with over 2.3 billion followers, making up around 31% of the world's entire population. Its followers, known as Christians, are estimated to make up a majority of the population in 157 countries and territories. And yeah, I mean, bro, like, it's like one of the staple white people religions. I don't know. I didn't grow up religious at all, so most of this stuff I learned on the internet, meeting other people, all that stuff. But Christians, I feel like that's like a regular common one. You feel me? We're gonna basically bust out all the common ones, super simple. Catholicism. Catholicism is the traditions and beliefs of the Catholic churches. It refers to their theology, morals, and spirituality. The term usually refers to churches, both Western and Eastern, that are in full communication with the Holy See. In 2012, there were more than 1.1 billion Catholics worldwide. This makes up more than 17% of the entire world's population. Many people use the word Catholicism to talk about the religious beliefs of the Catholic Church, whose leader is called the Bishop of Rome and often referred to as the Pope, which is basically the only thing I know about Catholicism. The Catholic Church is based in the Vatican City, which is a small independent country in the city of Rome, Italy. And sometimes the word often refers to the beliefs of other Christian churches included in the Eastern Orthodox churches, who have many similar beliefs to the Catholic Church, but do not believe of basically the Pope being their leader. So the whole way that I've ever distinguished between Christians and Catholics is the Pope, I guess. You know what I mean? I didn't even know that till like a couple of years ago. I figured it was all the same shit at the end of the day. Eastern Orthodox. The Eastern Orthodox Church, officially called the Orthodox Catholic Church, also called the Greek Orthodox Church, or simply Orthodox Church, is the second largest Christian church with approximately 230 million baptized members. It operates as a communion of autocephalous churches, each governed by its own bishops via local synods. The church has no relation to the Pope. That's like the main difference between the Greek Orthodox and Catholics, is they basically believe the exact same stuff, although Catholics follow the Pope. A Greek Orthodox, they don't believe in the Pope, so. Protestantism. Protestantism is a branch of Christianity that emphasizes justifications of sinners through faith alone. The teaching that salvation comes from unmerited divine grace, the priesthood of all believers, and the Bible as the sole infallible source of authority for Christian faith and practice. From what I just read there, it kind of sounds like they don't believe in punishment, I guess, for sinners. They just believe in faith alone and that it'll help them out. But if you're a Protestant or if you're any of these religions and I got it like super wrong, let me know, because like I said, I'm not religious. I just find it kind of interesting that people believe in stuff like this. So Buddhism. Buddhism is one of the world's major religions. It originated in South Asia around the 5th century BC with Siddhartha Gautama, and over the next millennia it spread across Asia and to the rest of the world. Buddhists believe that human life is a cycle of suffering and rebirth, but that if one achieves a state of enlightenment or nirvana, it is possible to escape this cycle forever. Siddhartha Gautama was the first person to reach this state of enlightenment, and it was and is still known today as the Buddha. Now, Buddhists do not believe in any kind of deities or gods, although there are supernatural figures who can help or hinder people on the path towards enlightenment. Honestly, shout out to Buddhists, you feel me? Like, yo, they're mad chill. I think of monks whenever I think of Buddhists, so shout out to them. Real ones. Shia Islam. Shia Islam is the second largest branch of Islam. It holds that the Islamic prophet Muhammad designated Ali as his successor or Khalifa and the Imam, spiritual and political leader, after him, most notably at the event of Ghadir Qum, but was prevented from succeeding Muhammad as the leader of the Muslims as a result of a choice made by some of Muhammad's other companions. At Sadifa, this view primarily contrasts with that of the Sunni Islam, who adherents believed that Muhammad did not appoint a successor before his death and considered Abu Bakr, who was appointed caliph by a group of Muhammad's other companions at Saqifa, to be the first rightful Rashidun after Muhammad, basically. Sorry, I can't pronounce shit right at all, but I am trying, I promise you. If there's anything, or if you can help me in the comments, let me know how to say it right and I will fix it for the future, I promise you. Sunni Islam. Now, Sunni Islam is the largest branch of Islam, followed by 85 to 90% of all the world's Muslims, and simultaneously the largest religious denomination in the entire world. Its name comes from the word Sunnah, referring to the tradition of Muhammad. The differences between Sunni and Shia Muslims arose from a disagreement over the succession to Muhammad and subsequently acquired broader political significances as well as theological and judicial dimensions. According to Sunni traditions, Muhammad left no successor, and the participants of the Saqifa event appointed Abu Bakr as the next in line. This contrasts with the Shia view, which holds more that Muhammad appointed his son-in-law and cousin Ali ibn Abi Talib as his successor. Hopefully I said half of that stuff right, somewhat. I know I'm messing it up. I promise you, don't flame me too hard, because I promise you I am really trying to like say these, you know what I mean? I've really got my translator right up here too, and I'm just fucking it up. Hinduism. Hinduism is an Indian religion or dharma, a religious or universal order by which its followers abide. Hinduism has been called the oldest religion in the world. It has also been described as Sanatana Dharma, or a modern usage based on the belief that its origins lie beyond human history as revealed in Hindu texts. Hinduism has an entire belief system in different shit called the dharmas. If you've ever listened to a Dr. K video before, he talks about a lot of stuff that has to do with Hinduism. I'm not going to get into all that, you know what I mean? I'm trying to keep these short and simple, so that's all I'm giving you for now. Up next is Judaism. Judaism is an Abrahamic, monotheistic, and ethnic religion that compromises the collective spiritual, cultural, and legal traditions of the Jewish people. Religious Jews regard Judaism as their means of observing the Mosaic covenant, which was established between God and the Israelites, their ancestors. Now, Jewish religious doctrine encompasses a wide body of text, practices, theological positions, and forms of organization. Among Judaism's core text is the Torah, the first of the 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, a collection of ancient Hebrew scriptures. Now, the Tanakh, known in English as the Hebrew Bible, is also referred to as the Old Testament in Christianity. In the strict sense in Judaism, unlike Christianity and Islam, there are no fixed, universal binding articles of faith due to their incorporation into the liturgy. Basically, Jewish people don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah or the Son of God. I'm pretty sure that is like their fundamental difference in both of them. But anyways, that is all for the sky tier. We're finally moving on to the tip of the iceberg. Nihilism. Nihilism is the family of views within philosophy that rejects generally accepted or fundamental aspects of human existence, such as knowledge, morality, or meaning. Now, there have been many different nihilist positions, including that human values are baseless, that life is meaningless, that knowledge is impossible, or that some set of entities does not exist or is also meaningless or pointless. Now, scholars of nihilism may regard it as merely a label that has been applied to various separate philosophies, or as a distinct historical concept arising out of nominalism, skepticism, and philosophical pessimism. Basically, these are people that are like kind of just fucking horrible to be around sometimes because they just think everything is pointless. Like, bro, life is pointless. Oh, why would you do anything? Life is pointless. Why would you try this? Why would you do this? Like, bro, like, even if it is, just shut the fuck up, dude. Ain't nobody want to hear that shit all the time. You feel me? Even if you think that in your head, bro, just keep it to yourself, cuz, you feel me? Like, I don't want to hear it, bro. You feel me? I don't need a pessimist around me all the time bringing shit down. You feel me? Like, come on, cuz life is already hard enough without dealing with these type of people. So anyways, I don't mind it if you believe that shit, but like I said, hey, just keep it down, bro. You feel me? Shit's already fucking hard enough. Satanism. Now, Satanism refers to a group of religious, ideological, and or philosophical beliefs based on Satan, particularly his worship or veneration. Now, Satan is commonly associated with the devil in Christianity, a fallen angel often regarded as the chief of the demons who tempt humans into sin. For centuries, the term was used by various Christian groups as an accusation against ideological opponents and basically a slur for heretics, freethinkers, and pagans. By contrast, self-identified Satanism is a relatively modern phenomenon largely attributed to the 1966 founding of the Church of Satan by Anton LaVey, not to be confused with the Satanic Temple. It's not the same thing, although the Satanic Temple, I'm pretty sure it's pretty close to me. I'm in Massachusetts too, and I'm pretty sure the Satanic Temple is in Salem, Mass. Anyways, yeah, like, I mean, they just believe in Satan.
Satan is good. Satan is our pal.
Listen, after looking into all this stuff, I don't know, bro. I don't really give a fuck what you think. You feel me? Like, I don't believe in any of this shit at the end of the day, but I think it is cool to learn about. Mormonism. Mormonism is the theology and religious tradition of the Latter-day Saints movement of the Restorationist Christianity, started by Joseph Smith in Western New York in the 1820s and 1830s. As a label, Mormonism has been applied to various aspects of the Latter-day Saint movement, or LDS, although since 2018 there has been a push from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or the LDS Church, to distance themselves from this label. A prominent feature of Mormon theology is the Book of Mormon, which describes itself as a chronicle of early indigenous people and the Americas and their dealings with God. Mormon theology includes mainstream Christian beliefs, with modifications stemming from the belief in revelations to Smith and other religious leaders. Now, when I think of Mormonism, I don't know, bro. They just seem bored as fuck. I can't lie. Like, if you guys have ever seen the Mormon college TikToks, bro, I'd be popping up. They're like, oh, the worst thing I ever did was drink a soda. And it's like, yo, cuz, what the fuck? And then some of them be weird. They're like, oh, would you rather sip of alcohol or kill a dog? And they're like, dude, I'd have to kill a dog. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? These people are nuts.
Well, you two boys can just fuck right off.
Ma'am?
You heard me.
Also, I just think of this South Park episode, because I've seen a couple of Mormons react to that, and they're like, dude, this is kind of close. Anyways, moving on. The Amish. Formerly the Old Order Amish are a group of traditionalist Anabaptist Christian church fellowships with the Swiss and Alastanian origin. As they maintain a degree of separation from the surrounding populations and hold their faith in common, the Amish have been described by certain scholars as an ethno-religious group combining features of an ethnicity and a Christian denomination. Now, the Amish are closely related to the Old Order Mennonites and Conservative Mennonites that are also a part of the Anabaptist Christianity. Now, the Amish are known for simple living, plain dress, Christian pacifism, and slowness to adopt many conveniences of modern technology, with a view neither to interrupt family time nor replace face-to-face conversations whenever possible, and a view to maintain self-sufficiency. Now, the Amish value rural life, manual labor, humility. The only thing I really know about the Amish is that they still ride around in horse and wagons. They basically don't do technology. They are crazy good at construction, bro. You ever seen them build houses? What the fuck? They build that shit in like 2 days. That shit is up and done and ready to be moved into. But yeah, whenever I think of the Amish, I think of the movie Sex Drive with I forget the fucking actors' names.
Sometimes I just miss the world.
What do you miss the most?
Butt fucking. I have a lot of nice memories there.
But yeah, Rumspringer. That's it. That's all I think about. Where they go crazy and basically they can either leave the Amish and go join the rest of society, or they basically go have their fun for like a week or two and they come back home. So anyways, moving on to the next one. Wicca. Also known as the Craft, is a modern pagan, earth-centric religion considered a new religious movement by scholars of religion. The path evolved from Western esotericism developed in England during the first half of the 20th century. It was introduced to the public in 1954 by Gerald Gardner, who was a retired British civil servant. Now, Wicca draws upon ancient pagan and 20th century hermetic motifs for theological and ritual purposes. Wicca is typically duotheistic, venerating both a goddess and a god, traditionally conceived as the triple goddess and the horn god, respectively. Wiccan celebrations encompass both the cycles of the moon, known as esbats, and commonly associated with the triple goddess alongside the cycles of the sun. Seasonally based festivals known as sabbats and commonly associated with the horned god. Now, the Wiccan Rede is a popular expression of Wiccan morality, often with the respect to ritual practice of magic. Basically, they practice magic. I'm pretty sure this is like the religion that's supposed to be in the Scooby-Doo Zombie Island movie. I'm pretty sure that whole thing is supposed to be like some sort of Wiccan representation, but don't take my word on that. I ain't gonna lie. Like, just thinking back on that now, I'm like, oh, that has a lot to do with the sun, weird rituals. So I don't know. That's just me thinking off the top of the head. Anyways, I'm moving on. Scientology. Scientology is a set of beliefs and practices invented by the American author L. Ron Hubbard, and an associated movement. It is variously defined as a cult, a business, a religion, a scam, or a new religious movement. Key Scientology beliefs include reincarnation and that traumatic events cause subconscious command-like recordings in the mind, termed engrams, that can be removed only through an activity called auditing. Now, a fee is charged for each session of auditing, and once an auditor deems an individual free of engrams, they are given the status of clear. Now, the operating thetan texts are kept secret from most followers. They are revealed only after adherents have typically given hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Scientology organization. Now, despite its efforts to maintain the secrecy of the text, they are freely available on various websites, including at the media organization WikiLeaks. Obviously, they have it. These texts say past lives took place in extraterrestrial cultures. They involve an alien called Xenu, described as a planetary ruler 70 million years ago, who brought billions of aliens to Earth and killed them with the thermonuclear weapons. Now, despite being kept secret from most followers, this forms the central methodological framework of Scientology's belief system. The Church of Scientology has been described by government inquiries, international preliminary bodies, scholars, law lords, and numerous superior court judgments as both a dangerous cult and a manipulative profit-making business. Now, when I think of Scientology, I mean, dude, you can look it up. There's a lot of weird shit about Scientology. I know that they have had followers that have died in very, I wouldn't even say mysterious ways, just crazy ways. Yeah, like they said, they charge a fucking fee, bro, hundreds of thousands of dollars to find out that some fucking dude named Xenu dropped you off 70 million years ago. Like, cuz, come on, bro. And the biggest weird thing about this, like, religion is that L. Ron Hubbard is a science fiction author. He literally wrote books about fucking space and shit. Like, I'm pretty sure his famous quote is, if you want to get rich, don't write books, you start a religion. I'm pretty sure that was his exact quote. It was something along that. I'll put it up here if I can find it. But moving on from fucking Scientology bullshit. Shintoism. Now, Shinto means the way of the gods, and Shintoism is an ancient religion of Japan. It started as long ago as 1000 BC, but is still practiced today by at least 5 million people. Now, the followers of Shintoism believe that spiritual powers exist in the natural world. They believe that these spirits, called kami, live in natural places such as animals, plants, stones, mountains, rivers, people, and even the dead. Now, the most important kami is Amaterasu, the sun goddess. She is believed to be the ancestor to the emperors of Japan. Now, her shrine is the most important shrine in Japan. Inari, the rice producer, is also an important kami since rice is such an important food in Japan. Taoism. Taoism is a religion and a philosophy from ancient China that has influenced people and natural belief. Now, Taoism has been connected to the philosopher Lao Tzu, who around 500 BC wrote the main book of Taoism, the Tao Te Ching. Taoism holds that humans and animals should live in balance with the Tao, or the universe. Taoists believe in spiritual immortality, where the spirit and body join the universe after death. Straightforward, honestly, I fuck with that. That's nice and simple and sweet, and I can understand that. You feel me? I like that. Confucianism. Confucianism is a philosophy and belief system from ancient China, which laid the foundation for much of Chinese culture today. Confucian was a philosopher and teacher who lived from 551 to 479 BC. His thoughts on ethics, good behavior, and moral character were written down by his disciples in several books. the most important being the Lunyu. Confucianism believes its ancestors worship and human-centered virtues for living a peaceful life. A golden rule of Confucianism is, do not do unto others what you would not want others to do unto you. Quote everybody's heard before. There is a debate over if Confucianism is a religion. Confucianism is best understood as an ethical guide to life and living with strong character. So it's sort of similar, in my mind at least, to Buddhism, where it's not really, I guess it is a religion, but it's also more of just a way of life. You know what I mean? Where I guess Buddhism is technically more of a religion with the spiritual aspects. Last up for the tip is Rastafarianism. Rastafarianism is an Abrahamic religion that developed in Jamaica during the 1930s. It is classified as both a new religious movement and a social movement by scholars of religion. Now, there is no central authority in control of the movement, and much diversity exists among practitioners who are known as Rastafari, Rastafarians, or Rastas. Rastafari beliefs are based on a specific interpretation of the Bible. Now, central to the religion is a monotheistic belief in a single god. They refer to them as Jah, who is deemed to partially reside within each individual. Rastas accord key importance to Haile Selassie, who is the emperor of Ethiopia between 1930 and 1974. Many actually regard him as the second coming of Jesus and Jah incarnate, while others see him as a human prophet who's fully recognized Jah's presence in every individual. Rastafari is Afrocentric and focuses on the attention that African diaspora, which is believed is oppressed in Western society, or Babylon. Many Rastas call for this diaspora's resettlement in Africa, which is a continent they consider the Promised Land, or Zion. So over here, the West, that's Babylon. Whenever you listen to music and you hear them talk about Babylon, they're considering the West, and they would like to go back to Zion, which is Africa. And that's one of their core beliefs. But other than that, they basically follow the Bible. They just call Jesus Jah, or that's what their interpretation is. Alright, next up is the start of the new tier. First up is Raëlism. Raëlism, also known as Raëlism, is a UFO religion founded in the 1970s in France by Claude Voronhal, also known as Raël. Now, scholars of religion classify Raëlism as a new religious movement, and the group is formalized as the International Raëlian Movement, or IRM, or the Raëlian Church, which is a hierarchical organization under Raël's leadership. It is considered a cult by French and Belgian authorities, though. Now, Raëlism teaches that an extraterrestrial species known as the Elohim created humanity using their advanced technology. Basically an atheistic religion, it holds that Elohim have historically been mistaken for the gods, and it claims that throughout history, the Elohim have created about 40 Elohim human hybrids that served as prophets, preparing humanity for news about their origins. Among them are the Buddha, Jesus, and Muhammad, with Raël himself being the 40th and final prophet. Raëlists believe that since the atomic bombing of Hiroshima back in 1945, humanity has entered the age of the apocalypse, in which it threatens itself with nuclear annihilation, which he's not so wrong about that one. Raëlism holds that humanity must find a new way to harness new scientific and technological development for peace, instead of basically for war, and that when it has finally been achieved, the Elohim will return to Earth to share their technology with humanity and establish a utopia. Now, to this end, Raëlians have sought to build an embassy for the Elohim that incorporates a landing pad for their spaceship. So they're building a whole space landing port for this guy. Raëlians engage in daily meditation, hope for physical immortality through human cloning, and promote a liberal ethical system with a strong emphasis on sexual experimentation. So basically they believe that Santa, Jesus, Buddha, any prophet you can ever think has ever been considered a prophet is basically half alien, half human hybrid, and they're just preparing us for the future. But anyways, I'm moving on from that one. Zoroastrianism, also known as the Mazda-Danasa and Bedin, it is an Iranian religion among the world's oldest organized faiths. It is based on the teachings of Iranian prophet Zoroaster, commonly known by his Greek name Zoroaster, as set forth in primary new religious text called the Avesta. Now, Zoroastrians exalt an uncreated and benevolent deity of wisdom, commonly referred to as the Ahura Mazda, as the universe's supreme being, opposed to Ahura Mazda in Anagro Menu, who is personified as a destructive spirit and the adversary of all things good. Zoroastrianism combines a dualistic cosmology of good and evil with an eschatology that predicts the ultimate triumph of Ahura Mazda over evil. Opinions vary among scholars as to whether the religion is monotheistic, polytheistic, hedonistic, or a combination of just all three. Zoroastrianism influenced Iranian culture and history, as well as ancient Western philosophy and the Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So it inspired these religions, basically, you know what I mean? They kind of all take and borrow from each other. If you haven't noticed by now, you will by the end of this. A lot of these religions believe in like three major things: either that there's some higher being, there's a heaven or hell, there's basically like angels and demons kind of thing. So they all generally believe somewhat of the same thing, even though there's big differences between them all. The Baha'i. Now, the Baha'i faith is a religion founded in the 19th century that teaches the essential worth of all religions and the unity of all people. Established by Baha'i Alullah, it is initially developed in Iran and parts of the Middle East, where it faced ongoing persecution since its inception. The religion is estimated to have about 5 to 8 million people in it, known as Baha'is, spread throughout most of the world's countries and territories. The Baha'i faith has three central figures: the Bab, executed for heresy, who taught that the prophet similar to Jesus and Muhammad would soon appear; Baha'u'llah, who claimed that the prophet in 1863 and had to endure both exile and imprisonment; and his son Abdul Baha'i, who made teaching trips to Europe and the United States after his release from confinement in 1908. Again, if I messed up any of those names, I'm sorry, bro. My tongue don't roll like that, you feel me? I can do the little R's, but Baha'i, like, bro, that's as good as I'm gonna get, you feel me? Unless I practice this for hours and hours. But anyways, I'm really trying. Pastafarian. In January 2005, Bobby Henderson, a 24-year-old Oregon State University physics graduate, sent an open letter regarding the flying spaghetti monster to the Kansas State Board of Education. Now, in this letter, Henderson satirized creationism by professing that his belief that whenever a scientist carbon dates an object, a supernatural creator that closely resembles the spaghetti and meatballs in there, changing the results with his noodly appendage. That's his quote. Henderson argued that his beliefs were just as valid as intelligent design and called for equal time in science classrooms alongside intelligent design and evolution. Basically, he wanted this to be taught in school. The letter was sent prior to the Kansas State evolution hearings as an argument against the teachings of intelligent design in biology classes. Henderson, describing himself as a concerned citizen representing more than 10 million others, argued that intelligent design and his belief that the universe was created by a flying spaghetti monster were equally valid, which I agree with at the end of the day. In his letter, he noted, "I think we can all look forward to the time when these three theories are given equal time in our scientific classrooms and across the country and eventually the world." Shout out to Bobby Anderson, bro. Like, just showing people how fucking retarded shit is sometimes. Like, I don't know. You gotta live a good troll when it hits home. You know what I mean? Like, that's some fire shit. Shout out to Bobby. I wonder how you doing. Hellenism. Now, Hellenism in a religious context refers to the modern pluralistic religion practiced in Greece and around the world by several communities derived from the beliefs, mythology, and rituals from antiquity through and up to today. It is a system of thought and spirituality with a shared culture and values and common ritualistic, linguistic, and literary tradition. More broadly, Hellenism centers itself on the worship of Hellenistic deities, namely the 12 Olympians. So basically the stuff that you learned back in middle school about Greece and the Olympians and stuff like that, that is what Hellenistic people believe in. They believe in the mainly 12 gods. Now, Hellenism is in practice primarily centered around polytheistic and animistic worship. Devotees worship the Greek gods, which include 12 Olympians, divinities, and spirits of nature such as nymphs, undergod deities, and heroes. Both physical and spiritual ancestors are greatly honored in this religion. Gods exhibit both universal and local qualities. For the Greeks, their gods were at the same time universal, found everywhere, and powerful over the whole world, and intensely local, manifesting themselves in particular places. So think of, like, they have the god of wine, they have the god of, like, there's a god of fucking everything, bro. You know what I mean? Like, we all know this. And yeah, they basically believe in those from antiquity all the way up until today. They still believe in these. And that's Hellenism. Heathenry. Heathenry is a modern pagan religion. Scholars of religious studies classify it as a new religious movement. Developed in Europe during the early 20th century, its practitioners model it on a pre-Christian religions adhered to by the Germanic people of the Iron Age and the early Middle Ages. Heathenry does not have a unified theology. It is typically polytheistic, centering on a pantheon of deities from pre-Christian Germanic Europe. Now, it adopts cosmological views from these past societies, including an animistic view of the cosmos in which natural world is imbued with spirits. The religion's deities and spirits are honored in sacrificial rites known as the blots, in which food and libations are offered to them. And these are often accompanied by a symbol or the act of ceremonial toasting the gods with an alcoholic beverage. Some adherents also engage in rituals designed to induce an altered state of consciousness and visions, most notably Sior and Gerald, the intent of gaining wisdom and advice from these deities. I'm assuming they're just tripping balls at this point. Many solitary adherents follow the religions by themselves. Now, other heathens assemble in small groups known as kindreds or hearths to perform their rites outdoors or in specifically constructed buildings, basically. Heathen ethical systems emphasize honor, personal integrity, and loyalty, while beliefs about the afterlife vary and are rarely emphasized. Basically, so they don't really have an afterlife belief. It's basically every man believes whatever they believe. You know what I mean? But they do meet up sometimes for these rituals and toasting to the gods and all that stuff. Kamishism. Kamishism is a neo-pagan religion and revival of the ancient Egyptian religion. Emerging during the 1970s, a Kamisha or Kemetic pagan is one who follows Kamishism. There are several main groups, each of which takes a different approach to its beliefs, ranging from eclectic to reconstructionist. These can be divided into three types: reconstructed Kamishism, a syncretic approach, and the more monotheistic Kamishic orthodoxy. Holy shit, that was a word salad in my mouth, guys. I swear to God, I'm trying. I don't know if you guys can hear this.
Kamishism.
I literally got it right here, and it's still hard to pronounce some of these words sometimes. So, different interpretations of the ancient Egyptian religion have different understandings of the monotheistic or polytheistic Egyptian pantheon. Now, the ancient Egyptian religion was a polytheistic religion, and Kamishas do not deny this polytheism, but different practitioners may elevate one deity to different levels. In traditionalist practice, each deity is in their own individual being, although one may be more powerful than another. So basically, it's like bringing back all the old Egyptian religion is what Kamishism is. I think I'm saying Kamishism right. I hope so. I hope my translator ain't fucking me. The Druze. Now, the Druze are an Arab and Arabic-speaking esoteric ethno-religious group from West Asia who adhere to the Druze faith, an Abrahamic, monotheistic, syncretic, and ethnic religion whose main tenets assert the unity of God, reincarnation, and the eternity of the soul. Now, most Druze religious practices are kept secret. The Druze do not permit outsiders to convert to their religion. Marriage outside the Druze faith is rare and strongly discouraged. Basically, they don't fuck with that at all. The Druze believe that at the end of the cycle is rebirth, which is achieved through successive reincarnations. The soul is united with the cosmic mind. Now, the Druze have a special reverence for Shu'ab, who they believe is the same person as the biblical Jethro. Now, the Druze believe that Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, and that Ismail, Iman, Muhammad, Ibn were all prophets. Druze tradition also honors and reveres Salman the Persian, Al-Qarid, who they identify as Elijah reborn as John the Baptist, and St. George, Job, Luke the Evangelist, and other mentors and prophets. I hope I said all those names right. I was really trying, but yeah, they're basically a super secretive older religion that has been around, and they do not like people to know what they got going on. Sikhism. Sikhism is the world's 5th largest religion. The word Sikh means learner or seeker of the truth. Sikhism advocates equality, social justice, service to humanity, and tolerance for other religions. The essential message of Sikhism is spiritual devotion and reverence of God at all times while practicing the ideals of honesty, compassion, humility, and generosity in everyday life. Sikh males can easily be distinguished by their turban, unshorn hair, and beard, and a steel iron bangle called a kara or a kirpan, which is basically the small sword that they carry. And Sikh females from their traditional chuni, which is a long scarf used for covering their heads, and basically it goes across their shoulders too. You've definitely seen them. They got the turbans. They got it all going on, you know what I mean? You know them when you see them, basically. And they're usually super chill because, exactly, they follow their religion pretty damn well. And like I said, humility, honor, I fuck with that, you know what I mean? Voodoo. Voodoo is an African diasporic religion that developed in Haiti between the 16th and 19th centuries. It arose through a process of syncretism between several traditional religions of West and Central Africa and Roman Catholicism. Now, there is no central authority in control of the religion, and much diversity exists among practitioners who are known as Voodists, Voodoo-sans, or Servanteurs. Voodoo teaches the existence of a transcendent creator divinity, Bondi, under whom are spirits known as Iwa, typically deriving their names from attributes from traditional West and Central African deities. They are equated with Roman Catholic saints. Basically, the Iwa are the same as the saints in Voodoo religion. And that's all I got. Voodoo is a very deep religion, goes into a bunch of different stuff. I can post a video of it. I mean, I know a lot of Haitians at the end of the day, you know what I mean? And a lot of them really, really believe in that shit. I you know what I mean? I know a couple people went and seen the Voodoo lady basically before, so I'm just gonna say I don't know. I've heard it's real, but all right, we're moving on to level 3. First up is Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate was an American new religious movement known primarily for the mass suicides committed by its members back in 1997. Commonly designated a cult, it was founded in 1974 and led by Bonnie Nettles and Marshall Applewhite, known within the movement as T and Doe respectively. Now, Nettles and Applewhite first met back in 1972 and went on a journey of spiritual discovery, identifying themselves as the two witnesses of revelation. Attracting a following of several hundred people in the mid-1970s, in 1976, a core group of a few dozen members stopped recruiting and instituted Mosaic lifestyle. Now, scholars have described the theology of Heaven's Gate as a mixture of Christian millenarism, New Age, and ufology, and as such it has been characterized as a UFO religion. Now, the central belief of the group was that followers could transform themselves into immortal extraterrestrial beings by rejecting their human nature, and they was basically ascend into heaven, referred to as the next level or the evolutionary level above humans,
so that they could be ready to move into the kingdom of heaven, or the evolutionary level above human.
The death of Nettles from cancer in 1985 challenged the group's views on ascension, where they originally believed that they would ascend to a UFO, basically heaven, while alive. They later came to believe that the body was merely a container or vehicle for the soul, and that their consciousness would be transferred to the next level bodies upon death. Heaven's Gate is originally known for as being a cult and basically the mass suicide where they all kill themselves. They drank the Kool-Aids, they wore the Nikes. That's basically it. I could do a whole in-depth video on this alone, but like I said, this is a iceberg, so this is kind of just, you know, base level kind of information. But anyways, we're moving on. The Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam is a religious and political organization founded in the United States by Wallace Fard Muhammad back in 1930. He's a black nationalist organization. The NOI focuses its attention on African diaspora, especially on African Americans. Now, while describing itself as Islamic, its religious tenets, though using Islamic terms, differ considerably from mainstream Islamic traditions. Scholars of religion characterize it as a new religious movement. It operates as a centralized and hierarchical organization. Now, the nation teaches that there has been a succession of mortal gods, each a black man named Allah, of whom Fard Muhammad is the most recent. Now, it claims that the first Allah created the earliest humans, the Arabic-speaking, dark-skinned tribe of Shabazz, whose members possessed inner divinity and from whom all people of color are descended. Now, it maintains that a scientist named Yaqub then created the white race. The whites lacked inner divinity and were intrinsically violent. They overthrew the tribe of Shabazz and achieved global dominance. Now, how you guys would know that is you probably have seen videos of these dudes on the street corners basically preaching about how white people are horrible. I've seen videos of them making white people kiss their shoes, kiss their rings, clean their boots. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these dudes, sometimes they can be fucking aggressive, because I ain't gonna lie. But basically, they believe that black people are the originals and white people basically are made from some scientists, some evil scientists, and we're just like a genetic thing come here to take over the world. And yeah, I mean, a lot of these religions, as we get deeper, they got some, at least to me, they got some fucking crazy ass ideas, which is why I think it's cool to learn about them, because I'm like, dude, who the fuck actually thinks this shit? You feel me? But Nuwaubian Nation. Nuwaubian Nation is an American new religious and black supremacist movement founded and led by Dwight York, also known as Malik Z. York. Now, York began founding several black Muslim groups in New York back in 1967. He changed the teaching and the names of his groups many times, incorporating concepts from Judaism, Christianity, UFO religions, New Age, and many esoteric beliefs. Now, in the late 1980s, he abandoned the black Muslim theology of his movement in favor of Kemetism and UFO religion. Now, in 1991, he took community to settle in upstate New York and then near Eatonton and the seat of Putnam County in Georgia. His followers built an ancient Egypt-themed compound called Tamari and changed their name to the United Nuwaubian Nation of Moors. By 2000, the United Nuwaubian Nation of Moors has about 500 followers. They drew thousands of visitors for Savior's Day ceremonies. Adherence declined steeply after York was convicted of numerous counts of child molestation, racketeering, and financial reporting violations, and was sentenced to 135 years in federal prison back in April in 2004. Now, the Southern Poverty Law Center described York as a black supremacist cult leader and designated the Nuwaubian Nation as a hate group. Basically, they're sort of like a more extreme Nation of Islam, in a sense. Don't take that exactly. Obviously, like, they're black supremacists. They hate all of the races, you know what I mean? Look at the fucking leader, cuz dude was touching kids, stealing bread, doing a bunch of shit, bro. And now he's sitting in jail for 135 years, cuz, like, bro, and now his followers don't even got a place to do nothing. Their leader's in jail. Like, these people are probably found something else to believe in at this point, you feel me? So, all right, next up is a weird one. Order of the Nine Angels. Now, Order of the Nine Angels is a satanic, militant, left-hand path occultist network that originated in the United Kingdom but has since branched out into other parts of the world. Claiming to have been established in the 1960s, it rose to public recognition in the early 1980s, attracting attention for its neo-Nazi ideology and activism. Describing its approach as traditional Satanism, it also exhibits hermetic and modern pagan elements in its beliefs. Now, according to the order's own claims, it was established in the Welsh marches of Western England during the late 1960s by a woman who had previously been involved in a secretive pre-Christian sect which survived in the region. This account also states that in 1973, a man named Anton Long was initiated into the group, subsequently becoming its Grand Master. Getting a little close to the Grand Wizard there, bro, alright? I'm like, I don't know. I know they got some neo-Nazi views, but like, yo, cuz, you name yourself Grand anything. It's a little sketch, you feel me? Several academic commenters who have studied the ONA expressed the view that the name Anton Long is probably a pseudonym of the British neo-Nazi activist David Mayat, although Mayat has denied that he's not it. The ONA advocates acceleratism and promotes the idea that human history can be divided into a series of anons, each of which contains a corresponding human civilization. Now, it expresses the view that the current anonic civilization is that of the Western world, but it claims that the evolution of this society is threatened by the Magian or Nazarene influence of Judeo-Christian religion, which the order seeks to combat in order to establish a militaristic new social order, which it calls the Imperium. Now, according to order teachings, this is necessary in order for a galactic civilization to form, in which Aryan societies will colonize the Milky Way. Like I said, some of these people are fucking tapped, bro. Like, these people, I don't even really know what they believe. They basically believe to get rid of all other religions, become like a militaristic, neo-Nazi, weird, satanic cult thing that will be able to take over the universe and the Milky Way. I don't know. At some point, these guys' ideas just become schizophrenia, and it's no longer like, if I can't think of your thought, if I'm smoking a blunt and I can't like have that thought, bro, like, you're too far gone for me, you feel me? Like, and I think of some weird shit at the end of the day, you feel me? I'm sure we all do, but cuz, what the fuck? Where you pull this out your ass, cuz? The Unification Church. Unification Church is a new religious movement derived from Christianity whose members are called Unificationists or sometimes informally Moonies. Now, Sun Myung Moon began gaining followers after the Second World War. On May 1st, 1954 in Seoul, South Korea, Moon formally founded the Holy Spirit Association for the unification of world Christianity. The Unification Church's full name until 1994 when it was officially changed to the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification. Now, it has a presence in approximately 100 countries around the entire world at this point. Its leaders are Moon prior to his death and his wife Hak Jan Han, whom their followers honored the title True Parents. Moon's book, The Divine Principle, informs the beliefs of the Unification Church. Moon considers himself a second coming of Christ, claiming to complete the mission Jesus Christ was unable to because of his crucifixion, beginning a new ideal family and a larger human lineage free from sin. Now, the Unification Church is well known for its mass weddings, known as blessing ceremonies. It has been criticized for its teachings and for its social and political influence, with critics calling it a dangerous cult, a political powerhouse, and a business empire. Now, the group has been accused of excessive financial exploitation of its members, basically stealing money from the people joining. Its involvement in politics includes anti-communism and support for Korean unification. And that's all I got for the Moonies right now, the Unification Church. Not much information. If you guys want to see a video full length on any of these weird religions or whatever, let me know down below. Aum Shinrikyo. Aleph, better known by their former name of Aum Shinrikyo, literally translated to the religion of Aum Supreme Truth, is a Japanese new religious movement and doomsday cult founded by Shoko Asahara in 1989. Now, you may have heard of this group because it carried out the deadly Tokyo subway sarin attack in 1995 and was found to have been responsible for the Matsumoto sarin attack the previous year in 1994. Now, Shinrikyo is a syncretic belief system that draws upon Asahara's idiosyncratic interpretations of elements of early Indian Buddhism and Tibetan Buddhism, as well as Hinduism, taking Shiva as the main image of worship. Now, it also incorporates Christian millennialist ideals, the theory and practice of yoga, and the writings of Nostradamus. So it's just a mix of a bunch of shit. Its founders, Chizio Matsumoto, claimed that he sought to restore original Buddhism, but employed Christian minimalistic rituals. Now, in 1992, Matsumoto, who had changed his name to Shoko Asahara, published a foundational book declaring himself to be Christ, Japan's only fully enlightened master, as well as identifying himself as the Lamb of God. So basically they share a bunch of Tibetan Buddhism, regular Buddhist or Chinese Buddhist, and they incorporate Christian rhetoric into their religion, but they also carry out terror attacks. So I don't really know. Basically, Buddhism, like from what I gave you about Buddha, he would not fuck with sarin gas attacks, bro. Like straight up, I don't know about that one. Heavenly Jerusalem. In the book of Ezekiel in the Hebrew Bible, New Jerusalem is Ezekiel's prophetic vision of a city centered on the rebuilt Holy Temple, the Third Temple, to be established in Jerusalem, which would be the capital of the Messianic kingdom, the meeting place of the 12 tribes of Israel during the Messianic era. The prophecy is recorded by Ezekiel as having received on Yom Kippur of the year 3372 of the Hebrew calendar. In the book of Revelation in the New Testament, the city is also called the Heavenly Jerusalem, as well as being called Zion in other books of the Christian Bible. Now, basically, they just want to actually make this like New Jerusalem a real thing. Like they would like that temple to be rebuilt in Zion or wherever, and that's basically what they believe in. But Order of the Solar Temple. Now, the Order of the Solar Temple, or simply the Solar Temple, was an esoteric new religious movement and secret society, often described as a cult, notorious for the mass deaths of many of its members in several incidents throughout the 1990s. The Order of the Solar Temple, or the OTS for short, claimed to be based upon the ideals of the Knights Templar and incorporated a mix of Rastafarianism, Taoism, and New Age ideas. It's led by Joseph D. Mombro and Luc Jouret as a spokesman and second-in-command. It was founded in 1984 in Geneva, Switzerland. Now, D. Mombro was a French jeweler, esotericist, and serial fraudster, while Jouret was a Belgian homeopath who lectured in alternative medicine and related spirituality. After meeting in one of these lectures, they became close and the OTS was formed. Di Mambro had founded several past esoteric groups and had previous affiliation with a number of other organizations. The group was active throughout the several French-speaking countries. Now, following increased legal and media scandals, including investigations over arms trafficking and money laundering in multiple countries, as well as conflict within the groups, the founders began to prepare for what they described as transit to the star Sirius in 1994. They first ordered the murder of a family of ex-members in Quebec before orchestrating mass suicide and mass murder on 2 communes in Switzerland. Now, the following years, there were 2 other mass suicides of former OTS members in France and Quebec. In total, 74 people died over the course of these events, with the classification of which as either mass suicide or mass murder is disputed. Now, the OTS was a major factor in toughening the fight against cults in France. Basically, these members just wanted to go to this star Sirius, and they figured, oh, what better way to kill off our ex-members and have the new members kill themselves? Like, it all works out in the end at the end of the day. But yeah, that's all I got for that one. Moving on. I am not ever joining the Order of the Solar Temple. That sounds like fucking trash. Catholicism. Now, Catholicism is the ethnic religion of the Circassians. It is based on worshipping the supreme god Teshkue and other minor deities under his rule. Now, to each of whom is attributed an element, action, or item of veneration or control. The religion also strongly focuses on the perfection of the soul, developing spiritual maturity and honor until a practitioner may enter the heavens in union with their ancestors. Now, the prominent concepts of Catholicism includes honor, manifestation of compassion, gratuitous help, in which, along with valor and the bravery of a warrior, enables the human soul to join the soul of their ancestors with a clear conscience. Thereby, the goal of man's earthly existence is the perfection of the soul. The souls of the ancestors also require commemoration for the ability to observe and evaluate the affairs of their descendants. Funeral feasts are arranged, and sacrifice or memorial meal preparations are practiced and distributed for the remembrance of the dead souls. Basically, I kind of fuck with this one. You know, this religion is pretty chill. They basically just believe in like perfecting themselves and their soul for whenever they die. Hey, that sounds pretty chill. You know what I mean? You're just trying to better yourself the entire time you're alive. That's cool with me. Muism. Muism, or Korean shamanism, also known as Musak or Muism, is a religion in Korea. Scholars of religion classify it as a folk religion and sometimes regard it as one facet of a broader Korean vernacular religion distinct from Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. There is no central authority and control of Musak, with much diversity of belief and practice evidenced among practitioners. Now, a polytheistic religion, Musak revolves around deities and ancestral spirits. Central to the tradition are ritual specialists. The majority of them female, called Mudang in English. They also sometimes have been called shamans, although the accuracy of this term is debated among anthropologists. The Mudang serve as mediators between paying clients and the supernatural world, employing divination to determine the cause of their client's misfortune. They also perform cult rituals during which they offer food and drink to the gods or spirits, or entertain them with storytelling, song, and dance. Kult may take place in a private home or in a Kutang shrine, often located in a mountain. The Mudang divide into regional subtypes, the largest being the Manism or Kangism Mu, historically dominant in Korea's northern regions, whose rituals involve them being personally possessed by deities or ancestral spirits. Another type is Sepism of eastern and southern regions, whose rituals entail spirit mediumship but not possession. Basically, the northern ones claim that they actually get possessed by these spirits and ancestors so they can talk and do whatever with their clients, whereas the east and south are merely just the mouths. You know what I mean? They'll pass messages along, and you know what I mean, they're basically like a translator. That's like the main difference between them two. But yeah, that's all I got for that. It's basically Korean shamanism. Falun Gong. Falun Gong is a new religious movement. It was founded by its leader Li Hongxi in China in the early 1990s. Falun Gong has its global headquarters in Dragon Springs, which is a 427-acre compound in Deer Park, New York, near the residence of Hongxi. Now, led by Li Hongxi, who is viewed by adherents as a deity-like figure, Falun Gong practitioners operate a variety of organizations in the United States and elsewhere, including the dance troupe Shen Yong. They are known for their opposition from the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, espousing anti-evolutionary views, opposition to homosexuality and feminism, and the rejection of modern medicine, among other views described as ultra-conservative. Now, you might have actually seen some of their fucking billboards, or like, what are they? They're like little travel fucking packs that you see when you go to like rest stops and shit, and they have all the little pamphlets. Bro, you will always see a Falun Gong or the dancing thing, the Shengyu, whatever. Like, I swear to God, I see these all the time. I see these billboards constantly. Like, these people must have money, real money, if they're like marketing like this, you feel me? Now, the Falun Gong also operate as the Epoch Media Group, which is known for its subsidiaries, which is New Tang Dynasty Television and the Epoch Times newspaper. The latter has been broadly noted as a politically far-right media entity and has received significant attention in the United States for promoting conspiracy theories such as QAnon and anti-vaccine misinformation, and producing advertisements for the US President Donald Trump. Now, it has also drawn attention in Europe for promoting far-right politicians, primarily in France and Germany. Falun Gong emerged from the Qinggong movement in China in 1992, combining meditation, Kwang exercises, and moral teachings rooted in Buddhism and Taoist traditions. While supported by some government agencies, Falun Gong's rapid growth and independence from state control led several top officials to perceive it as a threat, resulting in periodic acts of harassment in the late 1990s. On April 25th, 1999, over 10,000 Falun Gong practitioners gathered peacefully outside the central government compound in Beijing, seeking official recognition of the right to practice their faith without interference. Now, in July 1999, the government of China implemented a ban on Falun Gong, categorizing it as an illegal organization. Mass arrests, widespread torture, and abuse followed. In 2008, US government reported cited estimates that as much as half of China's labor camp population was made up of Falun Gong practitioners. So basically, yeah, China does not fuck with the fact that they're basically anti-CCP or the Chinese Communist Party. And yeah, they shut that shit down real quick. Now, at this point, half of labor camps in China, which is a fuckload of people, half of them are practicing Falun Gong, or they follow the movement and stuff like that. So following that shit got them locked the fuck up. Not only that, but I mean, they believe in like anti-medicine. They believe in a bunch of weird shit. I didn't even know the thing about paying Donald Trump and shit. I just know I've seen their posters and everything like that around. So the Church of Euthanasia. According to their website, the Church of Euthanasia was inspired by a dream in which Reverend Chris Corda confronted an alien intelligence known as the Being, who speaks for the inhabitants of Earth in other dimensions. Now, the Being warned that our planet's ecosystem is failing and that our leaders deny this. The Being asked why our leaders lied to us and why so many of us believe these lies. Now, Corda awoke from the dream, moaning the church's infamous slogan, "Save the planet, yourself." Every aspect of the deepening global environmental crisis, including climate change, poisoning of the water and atmosphere, reduction of biodiversity, and topsoil erosion directly results from the overabundance of a single species, us, Homo sapiens. The human population is increasing by 1 million every 4 days, according to the Washington-based Population Reference Bureau. Now, this is a net increase of 95 million per year, which is the current population of Mexico. Even a major war or epidemic hardly dents the rate of growth, and modern wars have tremendous environmental consequences. It is for these practical reasons, as well as moral ones, that euthanasia for only voluntary forms of population reduction, including suicide, free abortion, and sodomy.
Me 4 things that you believe in. What are the basic tenets of your philosophy?
We're gonna get to the 4 pillars of the Church of Euthanasia. You already know what they are. They're suicide, abortion, cannibalism, and sodomy.
They're also fiercely vegetarian and support cannibalism for those who insist on eating flesh. Now, the planet is a living, breathing organism and is capable of defending itself if necessary. The church hopes to avoid the suffering this would entail by achieving a mass leap of consciousness in which human beings begin to think of themselves not as individuals belonging to races or nation states, but as a species. This species awareness will be the first step towards what biodiversity author and population expert Paul Eldridge calls our absolute responsibility to protect what are only known living companions in the universe. Now, the one commandment is thou shalt not procreate, all right? And they have 4 pillars. They are suicide, abortion, cannibalism, and sodomy. This is like a fucking hilarious thing to stumble across when you're looking up religions, and their tenet or their saying is, save the planet, yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that shit's fucking hilarious. But anyways, they have a whole website where it's basically like just their 4 tenets and stuff like that. I'll leave the link somewhere. If that's what you're into, I guess. I would not support these people. You feel me? They want you to eat people, basically not even have sex for pleasure. They want you to just be like tortured and shit, sodomized, and they want you to kill yourself. I don't know. Not for me, but you feel me? Maybe for somebody out there. The Church of the Subgenius. The Church of the Subgenius is a parody religion that satirizes better known belief systems. It teaches a complex philosophy that focuses on J.R. Bob Dobbs, purportedly a salesman from the 1950s, who is revered as a prophet by the church. Subgenius leaders have developed detailed narratives about Dobbs and his relationships to various gods and conspiracies. Their central deity, Jehovah One, is accompanied by other gods drawn from ancient myth and popular fiction. The Subgenius literature also describes a grand conspiracy that seeks to brainwash the world and oppress Dobbs' followers. In its narratives, the church presents a blend of cultural references and elaborate remix of the sources. Now, Ivan Stang, who co-founded the church in the 1970s, actually serves as its leader and publicist. He has limited actions of other religious leaders using the tactic of culture jamming in an attempt to parody better-known faiths. Church leaders instruct their followers to avoid mainstream commercialism and to believe in absolute truths. The group holds that the quality of slack is in utmost importance, but is never clearly defined. The number of followers is unknown, although the church's messages have been welcomed by college students and artists in the United States, and the group is often compared to discordialism. Journalists often consider the church as just a giant fucking joke, but some academics have defended it as a real system of deeply held beliefs, and they're wrong. Basically, it's just a parody religion. They kind of like steal other religions' ideas and they just kind of parody it. Alright, we're now officially moving down a level. Now we're at tier 4. First up for tier 4 is Happy Science. Now, formerly known as the Institute for Research in Human Happiness, this is a new religious movement founded in Japan on October 6, 1986 by former Wall Street trader Ryuhyo Okawa, whose followers regarded him as the incarnation of a supreme being from Venus. Now, Happy Science has been described as a cult multiple times. The Happy Science group includes a publication division called IRH Press, schools such as Happy Science Academy and Happy Science University, a political party called the Happiness Realization Party, and 3 media entertainment divisions which are now called New Star Production, ARI Productions, and HS Pictures Studio. Now, the only requirement to join Happy Science is that applicants must have the aspiration and discipline to seek the truth and actively contribute to the realization of love, peace, and happiness on earth. Which sounds nice, right? Now, among other teachings, they believe in the existence of reincarnation, angels, demons, heaven and hell, and aliens. Members of Happy Science attend training courses and qualification seminars in order to increase their level within the group's hierarchy. Now, at the same time, the organization's political wing, the Happiness Realization Party, promotes political views that include support for Japanese military expansion, support for the use of nuclear deterrence, and denial of historical events such as the Nanjing massacre in China and the comfort women issue in South Korea. Basically, they don't fuck with that. Happy Science worships a deity named El Cantare, who they believe is the highest god on earth and the Lord of all the gods. They believe that the being was first born on earth 330 million years ago, and that is the same entity that has been worshipped at different times as Elohim, Odin, Thoth, Ophelius, Osiris, Hermes, and Buddha, with Okawa himself being the current incarnation. And yeah, so basically they believe in happiness and, you know what I mean, chasing for that stuff. And then they also say, yeah, fuck women's rights, the Nanjing massacre never happened, you know what I mean, like a bunch of random stuff. So they're kind of a weird mix. Chen Tao, also known as the God's Salvation Church, it was a UFO religion that originated in Taiwan. It was originally formed by Hongming Chen, who was first associated with UFOs, but later claimed that the group had been misrepresented as a New Age UFO cult. Now, members later moved to Texas in 1997, where they became notorious for a highly publicized failed millennial prophecy. Now, it was founded by Hongming Chen in Taiwan, who first associated it with UFOs, but later claimed that the group had been actually misrepresented as a New Age UFO cult. It was later known as the God's Salvation Church, so they ended up changing their name. Chen was a former professor who claimed to be an atheist until he joined a religious cultivation group that dated back 2 generations to the original female founder, teacher Yu Hixia Chen. But he broke with the group, headed by the 3rd generation teacher in 1993, and created with another fellow cultivator, Tao Hung Ma, their own groups. Now, it was later when he broke with Ma and decided to move to the United States that the new elements, such as the pseudoscientific information of cosmology and flying saucers, as well as the Christian motifs of the prophecy at the end and Great Tribulation, were introduced into the group. Basically, he waited until he moved to Texas to do all that. Now, unlike other millennial religious groups such as Millerites, Chen Tao seems to have effectively fallen apart after its leader's prophecies went unfulfilled. Immediately after the failed predictions, some of the members had returned to Taiwan, basically due to visa problems. In total, roughly 2/3 abandoned the group. Later, the remaining members moved to Lockport, New York. I don't know why New York is like the hub for these people, but it is. They continued to wear cowboy hats, but began stating that a war between China and Taiwan would lead to a nuclear holocaust that would result in much death, but also God's arrival in a God plane to save the members. They originally stated that this would occur in 1999, but later changed the date. And yeah, basically, so they failed the one prophecy, and basically 2/3 of their members had their visas to come over here for this, and they said, fuck that shit, I'm going right back to Taiwan. That shit ain't even happening. And yeah, That was it. Basically, this dude was just jumping back and forth. He went to one group, wasn't even religious at first, went to one group, broke off from that, started a new group with somebody else, broke off from that, came back, started his own thing. It failed. Everybody left. You know what I mean? It was just a fail all around. But Cartanoism. Cartanoism was a Christian sect in the 1920s through the 1950s in Finland, mostly in the Satakunta region. Now, the main centers of influence were Hutuin and Vampula, which were considered the mother parishes of the movement. But Cartanoism was also present in at least Kangasmeni, Lavia, Sipola, and Jupojoki. Now, the leaders of this movement were Alma Maria Cartano and the sleeping preacher Amanda Matilda Tilda Renunen. At first, they led the movement together, but later they ended up going their own ways because of personal arguments. Of course, this always happens. The movement was most famous for its child preachers. These child preachers numbered around 10 of them. At its largest, the movement had around 100 members, but its societies all over Finland gathered large crowds, even over 1,000 people showing up. As well as the child preachers, the movement was also known for Tilda Runenen's spirited sermons. Now, Alma Cartano, the founder of the movement, had studied in Sortvala Deaconess Academy, but she ended up never graduating, never became a deaconess. After this, she took 1 year traveling school teacher course in Hamelina teacher seminar, and she stayed in Ikermina for long periods of time, where the local preacher Valdemar Kirky introduced her to the Russian Skoptosi, Kastur, and Whipper communities. Dude, I am sorry. I know that sounded broken as fuck. I can't even read half of these words, bro. I promise you I am trying. I got the translator up. I'm trying for you. So like I said, she basically went around for a year learning a bunch of different stuff from different communities. And becoming acquainted with these movements convinced Cartano that all kinds of sexuality were evil, even when in marriage. That's what she pulled out of it. The sermons of Cartanoism were best known for significant coverage of waiting for the end of the world. The second coming of Jesus was thought to be coming immediately, and before it, the sinful world would receive its punishments. Now, the Winter War provided a good reason to declare that the wrath of God would be wrought unto the infidels. The Cartanoists themselves thought that they had found bridal parish for the end of times, which Jesus would embrace as his own when he came. So basically, they thought they'd be saved. On the other hand, Cartanoism did not try to organize itself to a separate community. Instead, its members stayed within the Lutheran Church. Basically, they still went to the same churches. Cartanoism life was strictly ascetic, including most of all sexual abstinence, even in marriage. Women were forced to wear dark-colored clothes, cover their heads in scarves, and dress in long dresses, basically to avoid arousing sexual urges in men. Children were raised severely, even cruelly. The movement held prayer and sermon meetings, which would last well into the night, like super late. They included long kneeling prayers, preferably with the face pressed into the floor, and praying in such a loud voice that the devil would flee away, in their words. The prayer meetings would often end in ecstatic experiences where participants banged their head and hands on the floor, shouted and wailed, had visions, spoke in tongues, and prophesied. And yeah, this was never a huge movement, at the most 100, couple hundred, but basically they had crowds of people coming to see these child, basically sermons, or, you know what I mean, like prayer leaders, I guess. The Aetherius Society. Now, the Aetherius Society is a new religious movement founded by George King in the mid-1950s as the result of what King claimed were contacts with extraterrestrial intelligence, to whom he referred to as cosmic masters. Now, the main goal of the believer is to cooperate with these cosmic masters, basically to help humanity solve its current earthly problems and advance into the new age. It is the syncretic religion based primarily on theosophy and incorporating malarial, new age, and UFO religion aspects. Now, emphasis on the religion include altruism, community service, nature worship, spiritual healing, and physical exercise. Members meet in congregations like those of churches. Basically, you can just picture a church. John A. Saliba states that unlike many other New Age or UFO religions, the Aetherius Society is for most part considered uncontroversial, although its esoteric and Malarian aspects are sometimes questioned, but they're not like super crazy. The religion may be considered to have relatively conventional practices, attracting members from mainstream society. Basically, it's not too crazy that normal people do tend to join it. The society's membership, although international, is relatively small. David Barrett suggests that in 2011 that the worldwide membership was in the thousands, with the largest numbers in the United Kingdom, United States, particularly in Southern California and in New Zealand. But yeah, they're basically not super controversial, not super out there. They're just not like known, basically. Universe people. Universe people, or cosmic people of light powers, is a Czech and Slovak UFO religion founded in the 1990s and centered on Ivo Benda. Their belief system is based upon the existence of extraterrestrial civilizations communicating with Benda and other contactees since October in 1997, telepathically and later even by direct personal contact. Now, they are considered to be the most distinctive UFO religion in the Czech Republic. Now, following the mass suicide of the members of the cult Heaven's Gate, which we just talked about back in 1997, the Universe people attracted the attention of Czech media as a group with similar ideology and potential to commit similar acts. The probability of this development has diminished in later years. On several occasions, the group also managed to appear in the Czech and Slovak mass media. Basically, they're getting popular, they haven't killed themselves yet, so. According to Benda, extraterrestrial civilizations operate a fleet of spaceships led by Ashtar Galactic Command orbiting the Earth. They closely watch and help the good and are waiting to transport their followers into another dimension. The Universe People's teachings incorporates various elements from ufology. Some former contactees are credited, though often as renounced after a certain amount of time or misguiding or defective. Basically, some people are liars. They get something from Christians, conspiracy theories. They basically take a bunch of inspiration from different places. But yeah, at the end, they basically think that a galactic force like the fucking Marvel universe is gonna pull up and save them. So, Mumboism. Mumboism, also known as the Mumbo cult, was a new religious movement founded by Onyango Dunde in the early 20th century. Followers of the religion, known as Mumboites, were also active in the Niger region of Kenya near Lake Victoria. The movement had anti-imperial teachings and was suppressed by the colonial government of Kenya. Mumboism began during the British colonial era in Kenya when Christian missionaries were active in the region. In 1913, Onyango Dundee began to preach that he had been swallowed by a serpent in Lake Victoria. The serpent spit him out and gave him a prophecy that he would then spread to his followers. This is the prophecy, apparently. I am the god Mumbo, whose two homes are in the sun and in the lake. I have chosen you to be my mouthpiece. Go and tell all the Africans that from henceforth I am their god. Those who I choose personally and those who acknowledge me will live forever in plenty. The Christian religion is rotten. All Europeans are your enemies, but the time is shortly coming when they will all disappear from the country. And yeah, that's basically all I got for that one. Like I said, a couple of these upcoming ones are pretty short. That would be fucking terrifying. Imagine a giant ass fucking sea snake eats you, spits you out, and then tells you that shit. I'd be like, bro, what the fuck? I don't know about that. But yeah, I mean, they basically just hate Europeans, obviously, because they were basically fucking ran by them at the time. So I get it, but moving on. Fiat Lux. Now, Fiat Lux, Latin for let there be light, is a neo-revelationist UFO of religion whose primary members are located in the Black Forest of Germany. Now, the religious order of Fiat Lux was founded in 1980 by Swiss-born Erika Ike, who adopted the name Aurelia as its spiritual leader and trance medium. According to members, Bertschinger received divine messages from Jesus Christ as well as Mary, Mother of Jesus. The group also believes the apocalypse is coming and that alien ships will arrive to evacuate adherents, followed by the transformation of the Earth into a new paradise called Amora. And basically, according to Bertschinger, the end of the world was due to arrive in 1998, but has since been postponed due to immense praying energies of the faith. Now, it's characterized as a cult. Fiat Lux has been estimated to contain an inner circle of approximately 135 members, in addition to 800 dedicated followers and 2,000 sympathizers. Devotees reportedly follow a Mosaic lifestyle, including scheduled prayer times, the wearing of white ceremonial robes, and adherence to a strict vegetarian diet. The order's founder, Aurelia, actually died in 2019 on February 24th. And yeah, that's basically most of the information I could find on them. Like I said, if you guys want to hear about any of these religions, cults in depth, let me know down below in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Sky Kingdom. Sky Kingdom was a Malaysian religious commune and sect founded by Arif Muhammad, also known as Ayam Pin. The commune, based in Betsut, Terengganu, was demolished by the government of Malaysia back in August in 2005. As of 2006, Ayam Pin was residing in exile in Thailand, just over the border from Kelagintan. 18 members of the Sky Kingdom commune remain at the mercy of Malaysia's higher Sharian court, with 40 having received leniency upon renouncing the group. Now, Sky Kingdom attracted worldwide mass media attention in mid-2005 over concerned efforts by the Malaysian government to suppress its followers as apostates from Islam. Now, the controversy brought to light the issue whether Sharia law superseded the right to religious freedom under Article 11 of the Constitution of Malaysia. The attention was coupled with considerable bemusement over the followers' central objects of veneration, which include a large cream-colored teapot, promoting local and foreign media to dub the sect as the Teapot Cult. Now, basically, they basically got exiled because due to Sharia law, they didn't really know whether they would even be able to practice their own religion or whatnot, so they got exiled to Thailand. And that's really all the information I could find on these guys, to be honest. Some of these are really, really fringe religious groups or cults, whatever you want to call them. Kuksu. Kuksu was a religion in Northern California practiced by members within several indigenous peoples of California before and during contact with the arriving European settlers. Basically, it's Native Americans. The religious belief system was held by several tribes in the Central California and Northern California, from the Sacramento Valley west to the Pacific Ocean. The practice of Kuksu religion included elaborate narrative ceremonial dances and specific regala. The men of the tribe practiced rituals to ensure good health, bountiful harvests, hunts, fertility, and good weather. Ceremonies included an annual mourning ceremony, rites of passage, and intervention with the spirit world. Now, a male secret society met in underground dance rooms and danced in disguises at the public dances. Kutsu have been identified archaeologically by the discovery of underground dance rooms and wooden dance drums. And basically, like I said, it's just a Native American religion back then. Dashaism. Dashaism is the spiritual message established by Dr. Dashay, born in Jerusalem on June 1st, 1909. On March 23, 1942, at the age of 33, Dr. Dashay, or Dashesh, basically means astounder in Arabic, proclaimed that in Beirut a spiritual message in which he called upon all people to embrace the ideals, the essence of their religions, not reducing their faiths into external shows of pagan-like rituals and practices. He declared his belief that humans, like all other creatures on earth, are subject to a cosmic law system. The just dispensations of this spiritual system apparition to humans, their reincarnation on Earth, or in any other worlds. Now, this cycle of reincarnation will come to an end only when they achieve spiritual transcendence by their own free will, integrating themselves into the spirit world themselves. Now, Dashaism is summarized in the following 5 points, alright? These are the important ones. The existence and immortality of the spirit. Spiritual fluids form the texture of the universe and the substance of its creatures. Spiritual casualty and just reward, or karma. Reincarnation, and the essential utility of all religions. So those are like the 5 points that they really wanted to summarize. Dashaists believe that Dr. Dashesh was in part a materialization of the form of the spiritual liquid from the Christ, the source of all prophets, including Jesus Christ and Moses. Basically, they believe that this spiritual fluid is like how all these prophets or gods or anything like that, messiahs, are made at the end of the day. But anyways, moving on from that one, because that one is kind of confusing to me. Adonism. Adonism is a neo-pagan religion founding in Austria in 1926 by the German esotericist Franz Sadler, who often went by the pseudonym of Dr. Musalam. Although Sadler claimed that it was the continuation of an ancient pagan religion, it has been recognized by academics as being instead the single-handed creation of a highly gifted and educated man, this figure being Sadler himself. Now, Adonism is a polytheistic religion revolving around a belief that there are 5 principal gods: Belus, Blitis, Adonis, Dido, and Molchos. Adonis is the most prominent of these in the group's theology, being a benevolent figure that Sadler equated with the Christian figure of Satan. So basically, Adonis is the devil. In contrast to Adonis, Molchos is believed by Adonists to be malevolent and to be responsible for the enslavement of humanity throughout monotheistic religions such as Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The religion therefore has a pronounced anti-Christian bias. So they don't really fuck with Christians, and basically they believe that one of them is like Satan and one of them basically enslaved humans throughout time. So Matrixism. Matrixism, or the Path of the One, is a purported religion inspired by Lana and Lily Wachowski's The Matrix film series, if you couldn't tell. Conceived by an anonymous group in the summer of 2004, it claimed to have attracted 300 members by May of 2005, and the religion's GeoCities website claimed over 1,600 members. Now, there was some debate about whether followers of Matrixism are indeed serious about their practice. So of course this got some media attention because it has to do with the Matrix franchise, so that was obvious to me. Matrixism carried with the 5 main beliefs that are described as the 4 tenets of Matrixism. Briefly, these were belief in a messianic prophecy, use of psychedelic drugs as a sacrament, a perception of reality as multi-layered and semi-subjective, and adherence to the principles of at least one of the world's major religions. Now, the Matrixism website singles out April 19th as a holiday, otherwise known as Bicycle Day, marks the anniversary of Albert Hofmann's 1943 experiment with LSD. The adopted symbol for Matrixism was the Japanese kanji symbol for red. This symbol was used in the video game Enter the Matrix. Obviously, like I said, this whole thing has to do with the Matrix franchise in general. Movies, video games. Now, the color is also a reference to the red pill, which represented an acceptance and ability to see the truth as established early in the first Matrix film. If you've never seen the Matrix franchise, it's pretty good. I mean, the movies kind of fell off a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, like the new one was kind of ass. But anyways, first one's pretty good. The video games on PS2 were fire. I don't know about following a whole religion about it. Like, that's a little weird, but whatever. To each their own, you feel me? I don't know. Urantia. Now, Urantia is a spiritual, philosophical, and religious book that originated in Chicago sometime between 1924 and 1955. They don't know for sure. When first published, it claimed to have been written by celestial beings. The actual authorship remains a matter of debate, though it has been noted that it appears to have plagiarized multiple sources. So basically somebody just ripped off a bunch of shit and stuck it on one book. If that was an alien, I mean, shout out to you, but like, cause if you can get here, bro, talk to us. What the fuck, you gotta plagiarize shit? That makes no sense. It received various degrees of interest, ranging from praise to criticism for its religious and science-related content, its unusual length, and the unusual names and origins of authors named within the book. Now, the text introduces the world Eurasia as the name of the planet Earth and states that its intent is to present enlarged concepts and advance truth. The book aims to unite religion, science, and philosophy all at once. Its large amount of content on topics of interest to science is unique among documents said to have been received from celestial beings. Now, among other topics, the book discusses the origin and meaning of life, mankind's place in the universe, the history of the planet, the relationship between God and people, and the life of Jesus. The Urantia Foundation, which is a US-based nonprofit group, first published the Urantia book in 1955. In 2001, a jury found that the English language book's copyright was no longer valid in the United States after 1983, and basically they just tried to claim that they had written the book. But the author is still basically up for debate at this point. Nobody knows. In my mind, it's definitely not a fucking alien, especially if you're like ripping off a bunch of other people. Like, dude, I did that in like 5th grade. What the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, you can't even get past high school and shit, like ripping people off that bad. So I don't know. The Typhonian Order. The Typhonian Order, previously known as Typhonian Ordo Templi Ortenis, is a self-initiatory magical organization based in the UK that focuses on magical and Typhonian concepts. It is originally led by British occultist Kenneth Grant and his wife Steffi Grant, and is now led by their deputy Michael Staley. The Typhonian Order is amongst the most well-known thematic magical orders, primarily due to the publications of Kenneth Grant himself. In particular, it has influenced Dragon Rouge and was instrumental in the creation of Nemna Mat magic movement. While the group continues to promote Aleister Crowley's religion Thelema, it also focuses on exploration of foreign intelligence such as extraterrestrial life and demons, as well as the darker aspects of occult existence. While not central to the Typhonian order, one of the most notable, studied, and controversial aspects of the tradition surround Kenneth Grant's use of fictional works of cosmic horror author H.P. Lovecraft to explore occult psychology, and that he viewed the entities of Cthulhu mythos not merely as fiction, but merely as manifestations of archetypal realities, possibly even as symbolic representations of actual spiritual forces or beings. Basically, what that whole jumble of whatever the fuck I just explained is, they're basically like a magic group that believes in magic, and they believe in H.P. Lovecraft's like Cthulhu books and stuff like that, but they don't think that it's just like fiction that he made up. They basically think it's like some sort of prophecy or some sort of sign that these are actual beings and stuff like that. They're weird. Eckankar. Now, Eckankar is a new religious movement founded by Paul Twitchnell in 1965. The spiritual home is the Temple of Ek in Chanhassen, Minnesota. Eckankar is not affiliated with any other religious groups. The movement teaches simple spiritual exercises such as singing Who called a love song to God and experience the light and sound of God and recognize the presence of the Holy Spirit. Now, some scholars believe that Eckankar beliefs is in part from the Sikh and Hindu religions, which we talked about earlier. One of the basic tenets is that the soul may be experienced separate from the physical body and in full consciousness travel freely in other planes of reality. Eckankar emphasizes personal spiritual experiences as most natural way to get back to God. These are attained via soul travel, shifting the awareness from the body to the inner planes of existence, and certain mantras or chants are used to facilitate spiritual growth. One important spiritual exercise of Eckankar is the singing or chanting of Hugh. It is viewed in Eckankar as a love song to God. It is pronounced like the English word Hugh or Hio in a long drawn-out breath, and is sung for about 20 minutes to half an hour. Ekis sing it alone or in small groups. Now, Ekis believe that singing Hugh draws one closer in a state of consciousness to the divine being, and that it can expand awareness, help one experience divine love, heal broken hearts, offer solace in times of grief, and bring peace and calmness. Ekis believe this practice allows the students to step back from the overwhelming input of the physical senses and emotions and regain the soul's spirituality higher viewpoint. Basically, you can see it from a higher point at that point, you know what I mean? Yeah, so there are basically a whole lot of singing and believing in God, and basically a whole lot of like manifesting your spirit kind of thing. They also sort of believe in like that spiritual, like your spirit can leave, almost like outer body experiences, or what I think of is, what the fuck is that movie, dude? Oh my god, Insidious. I think of Insidious when I think of that. Modern Mystery School. Now, according to their website, the mission of Modern Mystery School is to create world peace by empowering individuals to find peace within themselves. Now, the Modern Mystery School is in service to all humanity to assist in the ascension of the human consciousness on this planet. This is a mission the school and its lineage holders have been working towards for over 3,000 years. The purpose of this school is to help people achieve their highest spiritual potential in this physical life, while living a life of joy, fulfillment, and love. Now, the school provides people with the tools and teachings they need in order to empower themselves and to realize that they are their own greatest teacher, so that they may remember who they truly are. But according to other people on the internet, this is actually a new age cult, like in this Reddit post that I found from about a year ago, saying that they have been trying to recruit more people in Ireland. I'm gonna link the Reddit post somewhere right here. But yeah, basically, if you listen to Modern Mystery School themselves, they're basically just teaching people to believe in themselves, higher spirituality in themselves, like basically like real human empowerment. And then if you believe other people on the random like internet, you know what I mean, which could be true. I mean, hey, obviously if a cult is a cult, they're gonna promote themselves like they're not a cult, you feel me? But yeah, this one person said that they were basically trying to recruit more people in Ireland where they're from, but that is all. Take that with a grain of salt. I'll leave the Reddit post right here if I can find it, but yeah. All right, here we are, final depths of the iceberg, starting it off with the first entry of the final level, Cantlemoism. Now, Cantlemoism is created by one man, Chris Cantlemoe. For most of his life, he was a completely normal person, but at some point he had a huge mental breakdown. This basically led him to experiment with DMT, and suddenly everything changed. Cantamo had been the leader of what is most easily described as a Reddit pseudo-cult known as Cantamoism. Now, he was famous for handing out free money and claiming DMT cured his cancer. After he first tried the drug in 2018, he later said that he wanted the world to try it out. Now, DMT, the substance he obsessively promoted, especially through the spring and summer of 2019, is a super powerful hallucinogenic. Now, when consumed, inhaled, snorted, injected in a high enough dose, it provides an intense psychedelic trip. It also has potential therapeutic benefits. It's also basically a natural forming substance. It's like in our brain, I'm pretty sure. And when you die, that is like the trip that people have when you hear people talk about like, oh, I saw this, I saw flashbacks, whatever. I'm like 99% sure that is from DMT basically being released because you're dying. Cantamo had been a wealthy biochemist and a Yale graduate. He gained notoriety on Reddit because he was spending thousands there, indiscriminately gilding posts and comments. Basically, he was gifting awards on Reddit that actually cost real money. And through this, he was buying users' attention. In return, they were exposed to his theories about DMT and a few specific subreddits set up in his name. Now, those who continually participated in this corner of Reddit, albeit often ironically, making memes praising Cantamo and defending his views, calling themselves Cantamoists. So basically, it was a giant meme at the time. A lot of people were probably just like, holy shit, this guy's giving out money. Like, the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Looking up, they're starting to make memes about him, saying like, oh yeah, we believe this shit. Like, but most of it was just ironic. But the message of Cantamoism and its oddly cult-like nature was causing concern among other Redditors. Now, that's because some of these claims he was making had potential real-world implications for those who actually believed them, and he was targeting younger people.
Good, spread it around Reddit, because it's just going to get me more attention. I want attention, not on me, on DMT.
Now, most of Cantamo's Reddit posts have since been deleted or removed. r/Cantamoism was banned as a Cantamo's main Reddit account, u/ChrisGCG. Was also banned, so they kind of wanted him to stop preaching these fucking wild ass ideas. Realistically, his brain is just fried at this point if he's actually like doing drugs as often and smoking that much DMT. His brain is probably just fucking fried, and he might just be permanently tripping at this point.
The king, your king is here, and it's me. And if you don't like me, it doesn't matter. And lucky for you, I'm a benevolent king. I'm going to give you what you want, which is your freedom. If you just listen to me, trust me, you will get your freedom.
So yeah, Cantamo has a bunch of weird sayings. Another one is humans and all other living creatures with a nervous system can receive information from God's cosmic broadcast while their neural network is enabled by DMT. Yeah, keeps going. According to another discovery of his, adding DMT to an adult brain via orally active ayahuasca or by vaping DMT crystals allows people to see the spirits which are always around us but are otherwise invisible, including a multitude of guardian angels voluntarily assigned to each of us. Another one is schizophrenia and autism are one of the same and result from a relative overabundance of bioavailable DMT. From here on, these syndromes can be unified as eutrophenia. Eutrophenias are geniuses and were created by God to be leaders of humanity.
But I do believe that ayahuasca, DMT will cure it. It will cure all your diseases.
So this guy is like fucking out of his mind. Like I said, he literally probably is schizophrenic from how much he's just like messing up his brain. And he's like, yo, these people are gods. Like, they're meant to be here. They're leaders. Like, bro, if you ever talked to like a real schizophrenic, like seriously schizophrenic, like, cause you know, they got some grand ass ideas like this guy, you feel me? I don't know. Now, he encouraged people to stare at the sun to promote DMT production in the pineal gland. Central to Eastern mystic beliefs relating to a third eye, the pineal gland is a small organ in the brain that moderates serotonin, sleep cycles, and it's been hypothesized, though not proven, that it produces low levels of DMT in the human brain, which is what I was talking about a couple minutes ago. Now, Cantamo's most striking claim is that vaporizing the drug cured his brain cancer, sparking intrigue, and he actually invited real cancer patients to his LA ranch to smoke DMT. And people actually did it. Like, it's insane. Like, people actually believed this guy. Although, at that point, you might just be looking for anything. You know what I mean? So, I can't really blame them. I blame this guy for just, like, basically taking people at some of their worst moments and being like, yo, come smoke DMT at my ranch. This shit will cure your cancer.
No, I never had cancer. Just put it all over the internet. I don't give a fuck. Every scan I ever had was clean as a whistle because I'm healthy as a horse. But I needed to get your attention.
What a weirdo, bro. Now, by the time of his death, he'd largely been outcast by the online movement that he started, and his accounts were banned and relationships burned. So at least there's a happy ending at that point. At least people weren't still believing him, still spreading his information, although you still can't find like his ideas, but I'm sure somebody else has those ideas at some point. But
why would we trust him? Because he lied about cancer.
That's right. Except that I didn't lie about cancer. I'm telling you the truth about that. I had the worst form of cancer. That's called atheism.
Oh, brother.
Cantomoism, trash, whack. But we're moving on to the next one. Ascensionism. Ascensionism is a religion which is mainly based on the belief of reincarnation. In a related Yahoo group, Ascensionists claim to be a new branch of humanism. The 2006 draft Wikipedia article also describes it as being deeply rooted in the transhumanist movement. Now, it is unclear when the movement started, but it dates back to at least 2006 as indicated by the Wikipedia article. Now, this religion is actually best known for the Kanye Quest 3030 game. If you've ever heard of it or if you haven't, look up the full video on that, or if you want to hear about it, let me know down below and I'll make a whole entire video of that. That is what they're most known for. Now, Ascensionists believe that there are two spirits that make up a being, that being the physical spirit, the body, and the ethereal spirit, or the soul. Now, souls get reincarnated multiple times until they reach a point self-judgment. If they decide that they have been good, they will destroy themselves and become primordial soul stuffs, apparently, from which new souls are to be formed. Now, Ascensionists also believe that everything bad that happens to you is deserved, as you have asked for it in previous life. This interpretation makes Ascensionists able to justify any harm done to any other individual, as they believe that they deserved it. Now, Ascensionists also think that it is important to always be optimistic and never exhibit self-doubt. So, yeah, I mean, that car accident you got into last week, you fucking deserved it, brother. You asked for it in your past life, dude. Don't even ask an Ascensionist to ever feel sorry for you. What the fuck? That is crazy. I don't know about that one. That sounds a little too much for me, but yeah, if you have, you've probably heard of Kanye Quest at some point. It's like a weird troll video game that would basically introduce you into the cult at some point. If I can, I'll link the full video that I've watched about Kanye Quest somewhere above or below. Blood over intent. Now, blood over intent, or BOI, is the term used to refer to a specific satanic ritual and call. BOI was most likely founded by Mark Braun, aka Quasi-Limonis, in 2013. Now, the BOI movement has strong links to conspiracy theories, especially the Flat Earth movement, which seems to be integral to their beliefs. Now, BOI is mostly YouTube-based New Age religious movement on the internet with concerning cult-like qualities, as it has at least somewhat of a leadership and requires practitioners to post their rituals onto YouTube, and subsequently encourages practitioners to monitor the activities of every other practitioner to discourage anyone from leaving the cult. Now, as indicated by the cult mentality of being willing to monitor fellow practitioners and the belief in conspiracy theories, it's safe to assume that many practitioners are living in a filtered bubble at this point. Like, you are only consuming other practitioners' content. You're basically not letting anybody leave. You know what I mean? You're kind of basically in a giant echo chamber that you're getting yourself into with this cult. Now, the recent establishment of the Sophia Sanctuary is also highly concerning. The Sophia Sanctuary is a sanctuary founded by Devin Elon Maggi, a leading figure in the movement in 2020, located in Southern Oregon. Now, Mark Braun, the founder of the movement, proclaimed himself as the reincarnation of Satan himself. He claims to be in possession of the Book of Life, in which 144,000 names are written, and he claims that only those with their name in the book will avoid an afterlife of endless, pointless suffering. So apparently only the people with their names in the book are going to heaven, or whatever good afterlife you want to believe in. And the rest of the people on earth, which, if I'm doing my math right, dude, it's going to be fucking lit down there. Are you kidding me? Cuz what the fuck, bro? Only 144,000 people in that book? That's nothing, bro. That's like, yo, people get born like every second of the day, bro. That's nothing. Now, the only way for somebody to actually get their name into the book is to perform the BOI ritual. The BOI ritual serves as a sign of life and acknowledgement to Satan, as well as being the only way to get one's name in the book of life. Now, the ritual is performed by spilling one's own blood on a piece of paper on which a sentence like "bring forth heaven onto earth for the benefit of all," or "I intend to bring forth heaven onto earth" is written. Now, it is also important to record the ritual, as a final step of it requires to post the video onto YouTube. They want to kind of spread this in front of as many Christians and Catholics as possible is their main idea. So they're like, oh, put it on YouTube. You feel me? 1 billion people use YouTube. Put it on there. We're getting in front of the most Christians, the most Catholics at once. And that is it. That is the entire religion, cult, iceberg, whatever you call it. I'm calling it the religion iceberg because it has 90% religion, maybe like 2-3 classified as cults. But yeah, as somebody who doesn't believe in really any of this, I would consider myself spiritual, you know what I mean? Like, sure, you know what I mean? I like to keep an open mind, but I don't believe in any certain religion or anything like that, you feel me? So, I don't know. This was eye-opening to learn about like what a lot of people actually believe in. Now, if you think that something is really crazy, I mean, that's cool. Like, I feel you. A lot of these are really fucking weird to me, even the regular ones. But yeah, let me know down below what you think. Let me know if you want to hear any like deep dives into any of these weird religions or cults. And yeah, other than that, more icebergs coming soon, more clothes coming soon. If you haven't checked it out, tap the fucking link. It's down below somewhere. It's preview. And yeah, subscribe, like, all that YouTube shit. I'm out. Stay safe, stay dangerous, get laid. And that's it. Appreciate you.